This year, I'm making a conscious effort to live closer to nature, to slow down a little and to pay more attention to the rhythms of the seasons as they unfold around me. Rather than moving through the year by dates and deadlines alone, I've been looking for ways to notice what's happening in the landscape, what's growing, what's fading, and what feels like it's beginning again. While exploring different seasonal traditions, I came across the Ogham Tree Calendar, an ancient system rooted in the landscapes of Ireland and Wales. The Ogham script itself appears carved into standing stones, and although scholars are still unsure exactly how it was used, each symbol in the alphabet is associated with a tree. There's a theory that these tree symbols once formed a pre-Christian calendar, often called the Celtic tree Ogham, where each tree corresponds to a particular lunar period, beginning and ending at the new moon. The folklore, habits and growth patterns of each tree are thought to reflect the energy of that time of year. Whether or not this was ever a formal calendar, I found the idea deeply inspiring, a way of moving through the year guided by trees rather than numbers, and of learning directly from the natural world. So this year, I'm following the Ogham calendar and creating a video each month exploring a different tree, looking at its ecology, folklore and the relationships it holds within the landscape. So this is the tree I'm wanting to talk to you about today, which is our lovely Silver Birch. The Ogham symbol for birch is Baith, a simple marking but one tied to powerful symbolism. The Silver Birch is very much a tree of new beginnings and fresh starts. After the last ice age, around 11 to 12,000 years ago, birch was one of the very first trees to recolonise the land. As the ice retreated, birch seeds, light and winged, were carried by the wind across open ground, allowing the tree to establish itself quickly where little else could grow. Because of this, ecologists call birch a pioneer species. It's a tree that arrives early, stabilises the soil, creates shelter and light shade, and prepares the land for other species to follow. In many ways, birch doesn't arrive to stay forever, it arrives to begin something. Silver birch thrives in open, disturbed ground where there's space and light. Its seeds struggle in dense woodland, and over time it's often outcompeted by larger, slower-growing trees like oak and beech. As a result, birch is not especially long-lived. Even at its best, it might reach around 100 years old, fleeting when compared to ancient oaks that stand for centuries. But that impermanence feels fitting. Birch lives fast, grows quickly, and then steps aside. Its role is transition, not dominance. Often called the Lady of the Woods, Silver Birch is unmistakable in the landscape. Its pale, silvery bark catches the light, standing out even in the darkest months of winter. When much of the woodland feels shadowed and still, birch trunks seem to glow, like quiet beacons scattered through the trees. The bark itself is papery and peels away in thin layers. This peeling allows the tree to shed pollutants and protect itself, constantly renewing its outer skin. When found already fallen and dry, birch bark makes an excellent natural fire lighter, a small but powerful source of flame. Symbolically, it feels like a tree that quite literally brings light forward, even in bleak or uncertain times. In spring, silver birch can be tapped for its sap, a clear, slightly sweet liquid that rises as the tree wakes from winter dormancy. It's sometimes compared to maple syrup, though birch sap is much more subtle and watery. If harvested at all, it should always be done sparingly and respectfully, as excessive tapping can harm the tree. Traditionally, the sap was valued as a seasonal tonic, sometimes to mark renewal and movement after winter's stillness. The branches of silver birch are fine, flexible and pliable. Even in a light breeze, they sway and shimmer, giving birchwoods a constant sense of motion. There's something soft and calming about standing among them, as though the forest itself is breathing. This movement, this responsiveness, feels central to birch's character. It bends rather than resists. It adapts. In folklore, birch is often personified as a feminine protective presence. In Slavic traditions, the spirit Batushka, sometimes called the Wood Maiden, is closely associated with birch forests. She appears as a figure, both woman and tree, offering blessings, protection and renewal to those she encounters. Across cultures, birch is repeatedly linked to cleansing, rebirth and beginnings, whether through folklore, ritual, or simple seasonal observation. Silver birch is also a tree well worth knowing for foragers, particularly those interested in mushrooms. Birch forms mycorrhizal relationships with a wide range of fungi, meaning the tree and fungus exchange nutrients through their root system. Where birch grows, fungi often follow. One of the most well-known is birch polypore, a pale, hoof-shaped fungus with strong antibacterial properties. Historically, it's been used in medicinal preparations, and even the skin of the fungus has been used as a natural plaster. Birch woodland is also a good place to look for colourful and distinctive fungi. I found fly agaric growing beneath silver birch, along with a variety of boletes, including the orange birch bolete and the scarlatina bolete. Some of these fungi are edible, others are medicinal, and some are toxic, so careful identification is always essential. But as a rule, if you step into a birch forest, there's a good chance you'll find something fascinating growing nearby. So whether you're drawn to silver birch for its ecology, its folklore, its mycorrhizal relationship with fungi, or its symbolism, it's a tree that rewards attention. A tree of light, movement, and beginnings. A tree that arrives first, prepares the way, and reminds us that starting something new doesn't always mean staying forever. If you find yourself at the threshold of change this month, clearing space, beginning again, or stepping into something unfamiliar, the silver birch is a tree well worth walking with.